Hey everybody, how are you doing today? We're going to do a quick overview of the course here for CIS 1500 Intro to Programming in Java for Fall 2023. This is me. Hi, I'm Eric Janeski. This is my college email address, and this is my cell phone. I do have a desk phone there at the Orchard Ridge campus, but don't use it, please. Just use my cell phone. Call or text. My office hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 11:30 p.m., Tuesday 3 to 4, Thursday 2 to 3. You can schedule appointments via this Calendly link here, which is awesome. So we can set up an appointment time. So find a day, you can pick a time, we can meet over Zoom. I'd have 15-minute appointment slots, usually keeps it short and sweet. If you need more, book 2 in a row, that's okay. But usually one 15-minute appointment seems to get the job done here. And it'll send you out an appointment. It'll reserve it on my calendar, so I know we've got the time there, which is pretty cool. And we'll meet over Zoom. Password is CIS, all caps here. So we've got 3 15-week sections for this online asynchronous class on D2L, just where you found this link, so I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it. This is a copy-paste from the catalog. Shouldn't be anything new there. There's no prereqs. We assume this is your first programming class, and we'll take you from the ground up. Some general education outcomes is critical thinking. They measure this, assess it throughout the college here. It's interesting. And the specific common course outcomes, no matter who teaches 1500, we look and measure how well students do these couple things here. Most of it's not going to make a lot of sense until we get there, so I won't bother going through those. For our textbook, we use a open educational resource that our friend David Eck wrote from another school. He's actually retired now, so I'm hosting it on my GitHub site here. It was last updated for version 9. I'm working on some updates here. I don't necessarily love everything that he does, but it's great and it's free, which is really cool. So we get into a lot of the chapters, not all of them. We don't get into chapter 9, we don't do chapter 10, we don't do chapter 12, but we'll get into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll come back for 13 here as well. So a lot of fun stuff in here that we do with programming. It's really cool. And it's free, which is great. For other materials, we're going to use all sorts of tools. I have a whole video on installing the tools separately here, but we're going to use GitHub. The GitHub desktop client is my preferred way of interacting with GitHub, which is a hosting provider for the Git source control tool. Note, though, GitHub and Discord are public services, so use whatever username or handle you want. It doesn't have to be your real name. I'll know it's you because it's linked in Desire to Learn. Here's the link for my Discord server. We're going to use the IntelliJ. The Community Edition is the free one. You can get a license with your student account, but we don't need any of those bells and whistles. The Community Edition is perfectly fine. We're going to use Scene Builder later on when we get into Java FX, so you don't need to worry about it right now. We can come back to it later if you want, or you can download it now if you want. If you don't want to download and install things, or you don't have a computer that supports them very well, you're welcome to use the virtual desktops, which are really cool. So here's the link. They recommend not using the web version for the virtual desktops. The full client is a little better here, performs a little better. Now, the downside is nothing gets saved on the virtual desktops. So your code needs to go in GitHub, which is okay because that's where it should go. And then you'll just have to go download it again, sync up with GitHub, clone your repository to get back up and running. It takes maybe a minute. It's pretty quick here, which is nice. The course policy on plagiarism and cheating, this is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I don't think people who cheat should get degrees. And I don't think you should either, because if someone cheats their way through school and actually has no idea how to do any of these things, when they get a job, the people will eventually fire them because they suck, and then they'll think that OCC does a terrible job teaching you how to do things and won't want to hire other OCC graduates. So it's in your best interest not to cheat, and it's in all of our best interest for cheaters not to pass. So students who engage in academic dishonesty receive a failing grade for the course and can be reported to the dean's office. That being said, if you're unsure, just ask. Right? It's pretty easy to ask. Under no circumstances may chegg.com be used. You can't post questions there. You can't cite answers posted there. Any use of Chegg or similar websites is considered academic misconduct. That being said, you can use a tool like ChatGPT, but we're going to cite it as a source using code comments. I'll show you how. It's okay, including the prompt that you used. You can't just say, hey, here's from ChatGPT. Right? I need to know what you asked it there. Now, that being said, you can't turn in an entire solution from ChatGPT. The bulk of your work must be original effort, just like in the English paper. You can't turn in one giant quotation. You can't say, hey, here's my quote. doesn't work like that. Hey, here's my source. You can't just turn in someone else's work, right? So you can use it, and we'll look at how we can use it throughout the class, but we need to do our own work, right? It needs to be our original effort here. And then a quote from the OCC handbook. I'm sure everyone read the handbook here, which is super fun, right? Most of the time it's plagiarism, turning in someone else's ideas without giving credit to them. So I'll show you how to cite sources. We do it all the time in the industry, but this is academia, and we need to come up with our own work too as well. Right, other stuff from the handbook. This is pretty standard, came in the syllabus template. Nothing super interesting here, especially keeping the classroom corridors quiet. An online class is fun, but sure. For grades, this is what most people seem to care about. Now, I use a weighted system, so items in each category make up a certain percentage of our overall score. So the labs that we do every week are worth 10% of your score. Projects are worth 30% of your score. The quizzes are worth 10%. Midterms are 10%. And the final project is 40%. This is very large. This is on purpose. You can't pass the class without doing the final project. That's intentional. That should total up to 100% here. And then the new grading scale, WS mark, I can assign those if you'd like. I don't do them by default. If you just stop attending, you get an F. If you'd like a WS, just ask me. I'm okay to give them out, and I can give them out all the way up until you present the final project. So, sure, I don't know why it's different than a regular withdrawal, or why you can't do a regular withdrawal after a certain point, but sure. But I can give a WS up until you present the final project, which is cool. So the grading scale here, this should be the new standard scale. Did I mess this up and not update it here? This one does not look like it's up to date. Shoot. Let me see. I've got the new version here. Give me just 1 second. Got it. Thought I put it in here for fall. Let's see. This should be a new standard scale for all the classes here. So yeah, I think it just didn't update. I think that's probably what it is. So I went through and updated it. Yep. Okay. So here's the new scale. I'll make sure that updates in D2L. Make sure we have the latest version here. So 93 to 100, it's an A. There's no A plus for some reason, sure. But you can get an A minus. So 90 to 92.9 is an A minus. 87 to 89 is a B plus. 83 to, and so on and so on. So from 3 on up is regular, and then 7 to, right, and so on, all the way down until there is nothing less than a D. Less than a D, you fail the class. So that's what it is. For N grades, if you don't turn anything in, there's no graded work, right? We don't have attendance, but if you don't turn in gradable work, right, within essentially, I think it's 15% of the class, you'll end up getting dropped from the class. This has financial aid implications, all sorts of ugly things. I'll shoot you an email before we send you an N mark, so please be watching your college email and let me know. But there's a syllabus quiz the first week, so you can take the syllabus quiz, and then we're great, because you've turned in graded work. You actually get points for the syllabus quiz, which is a little silly, but that's okay, right? It's some free points for you. So don't do that. I don't take late work without prior written approval. So if something's coming up and you're going to be out of town for traveling for work or something, you have to go to a wedding and you're going to be gone for an entire week, let me know. I can be flexible for some things. The projects are really hard to be flexible on because I post the solutions to them. So, just let me know. Other standard policies, FERPA, I don't tell anybody anything. I just say go look at D2L for grades, right? Which is easy. The Americans with Disabilities Act, contact the Access Office. They will get in touch with me, and then we can have reasonable accommodations as needed. Generally, I've found most accommodations tend to be additional time on quizzes and tests. The quizzes are untimed. The midterm is untimed, aside from the due date, so you have all week to work on it. But let me know. I'm happy to work with you if accommodations are needed, and just let me know. But again, go through the Access Office. They do the paperwork, and then we're happy to chat. The Academic Support Center is my favorite thing about OCC, and they offer, I hate to say the word free, but no additional charge tutoring, because paid for with your tuition and tax dollars. So why did that open in Chrome? That is ugly. We don't want Chrome. Chrome is awful. I have not yet uninstalled it on this laptop. I should do that. Here we go. So here's the tutoring page. Come back to Edge. So you can go through and schedule your appointments here. They're fantastic. Go through the app. Sure. there should be, where does it go here? Tutoring for CIS. There we go. Tutoring for CIS. Yeah, cool. So all sorts of cool flexible hours. Sure. Pageless format. Why not? That sounds great. So a couple different tutors. Rika is fantastic. She tutors for 1,500. Michael tutors for 1,500. Dustin does not. Jordan tutors for 1,500. Andre tutors for 1,500, which is awesome. So sign up, make appointments. Lots of different hours here, Monday through Friday, which is great for 1,500. And in addition to that, we also have our friend Mr. Tim Vorse is our group tutor for this class, which is fantastic. So he runs tutor sessions for anybody in the class to drop in on. That way, everyone is doing the same stuff, which is great. So if you've got a question about something, someone else probably has a question about something, come to the group tutor session and talk about it, because it's useful for everyone. So he had sent me some hours. I'll get them posted. I believe there's Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday hours. So he's going to have 3 different 1-hour sessions you folks can come to, which is going to be awesome. I'll get those posted and linked in D2L. I've got to check it in my email. I think I've got it in my email. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. So Tuesday and Thursday mornings from 10 to 11 and Friday from 5 to 6. You can't see that screen, but that's okay. I'll get that posted in D2L for you. That is fantastic. So they also have study skill seminars. If you're new to college, definitely recommend you check out the study skill seminars. It's a great resource there for you as well. Excuse me. There's a new student technical help desk if you need any sort of technical help. Why does it keep opening Chrome? I hate that. That's fine. Give them a call, shoot them an email. They're around Monday through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They can help with a variety of things, which is awesome. So let them know what you need help with. They should be able to help you out. For software engineering software, stuff with the VDI or the other software that we use, we actually have our own help email we can contact, which is really cool. But they can help with VDI access there. So I'll get you the info for help with the CIS specific software, which is cool. So our parapros in the CIS department support that, which is great. So got lots of support for you. D2L technical support, which is like the website itself is not working, not content related. It just won't load, that sort of thing. Give them a call 24/7. They're great. Other things are fine. Technology appropriate use. Everybody agrees to this. Don't do dumb things with college resources. Otherwise, you'll lose access to college resources. So it's really hard to pass computer classes without access to the computer resources. So please don't do dumb things or illegal things, right? Etiquette, just be polite, be kind. It's a nice, easy rule of thumb here. I'm not very particular myself. I'm okay. If you call me Eric, I'm okay if you don't use good punctuation, but it's a good habit to get into, being polite and kind and using good punctuation. For public safety, check out their website if you have any concerns. They'll be able to help you out. And then also our libraries are amazing. All sorts of cool library links here for research guides, the catalog, research databases off the main OCC website. Tons of resources available for us. There's a really cool research database here available to OCC students. Why is it here? I hate this. That's okay. I think it is, yes, this IT Pro Books 24/7 is awesome. And this is available through the OCC library. Just get logged in here, again with your login, not mine. And there are all sorts of awesome IT books that you can check out for free, which is really cool. So if you want to look up, no, don't save my password. This is why Chrome is stupid. Like Java. Hey, let's look up Java and see what kind of books they have. Or if browse by category. All sorts of really cool available books here that you can just read for free, which is awesome. You've even got some videos, Java 7, great. So check it out. All sorts of great stuff there. That's a great resource. Check out the libraries. All right. As for me, if you've checked out Rate My Professor, I'm not so good at grading, and we'll have a talk about that. But it'll be okay. We'll get there. Email, other communications, find me on Discord, call, text. Usually within 24 hours or less, I will get to it usually really quick because my phone's always on me. I'm a pretty solid millennial. You know, it's always in my pocket and I'm addicted to it. So if you haven't heard back from me in 24 hours, please reach out again. I might have missed it. My little guy loves watching YouTube Kids on my phone because he gets bored of his Kindle, and sometimes he swipes away my notifications or just does something, and I don't know, it goes somewhere. So please reach out again. It is not bothering me at all. You know, it's my job, and I get paid to respond to you. So if you haven't heard from me within 24 hours, please reach out again. I'm happy to hear from you, and you know, I might have missed it, and I apologize. All right, the class schedule. This is what everyone seems to be interesting. So we're going to try starting our weeks Monday at 8 a.m., and they will end the following Monday at 7:59 a.m. So all the due dates for things should be 7:59 a.m. or so, and that should work out pretty well. So, you know, that's the flow. Each week we'll start new stuff. So this week here is the course introduction. We'll talk about GitHub, IntelliJ, and Chapter 1 here. This is the syllabus and the mental landscape, Chapter 1. Next week, names and things from Chapter 2. We'll start the first project, or Project 0. There's a reason we start with 0. It's a programming thing. Don't worry about it. Once we get to arrays and array lists, it'll make a little bit more sense. So every 2 weeks or so, we'll have a project. So please plan accordingly. So the project's every 2 weeks. The labs are every 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to do the lab. Ideally, the labs you get done in 1 week. The goal is 1 week. I used to have labs, the initial post and reply due in the same week. But then to do the initial post, you have to have done the reading and watched the videos. So trying to jam all of that in the first 5 days so that you have 2 days to do a reply to someone felt a little rough, especially when we start Mondays. That meant stuff was due Friday, and some people are busy during the week. Go figure. That's why you're taking an online class. So you'll have the entire first week to get the first post done for labs. Ideally, you also reply right away, right? You don't leave the replies hanging for the next week if you can help it, because then you're going to get behind, and then you'll have last week's lab to reply to and this week's lab to do, and you know, it gets a little awkward. So ideally, everything gets done in the week, right? So we'll have the videos to watch, you'll have your labs to practice, you'll have your quizzes to do, and you'll have the project to work on. But the projects, you have 2 weeks, because I want you to start early. I want you to ask me questions if you're not clear on something, and not wait until Monday at 6 a.m. and say, hey, Eric, what's going on? Because I don't understand. If you wait until Monday at 6 a.m., or even Sunday before it's due, you know, I try and answer questions on the weekend. I generally don't have standing office hour appointments on the weekends, but I'm on my phone all the time. So I will generally respond to emails and questions and things, you know, on the weekends. You know, I understand sometimes that's the only time you folks have to work on it. So just don't leave it to the very end for those projects. So 2 weeks for the projects. And again, I don't take these ones late because there's solutions that get posted to them. So please try and start early. So anyway, so 1 chapter a week or so. We slow down a little bit when we get to objects and classes because that is a larger bit here. Chapter 3 is big as well. So we do the if, else, and switching part, and then we do whiles, do's, and for loops for the next part. Eventually, when I rewrite it here, that'll be separate chapters, but I haven't got to that yet. And then we jump around a little bit here, again, because we're a little bit awkward when we get to GUI stuff. So we jump into arrays first, and then we talk about streams, which are files, and then we come back to GUI, and we wrap it up. So the midterm's a little late in the semester. It's actually week 10 here, but we want to get into all the stuff here first, and then we pivot after that and we get to graphical user interface, or GUI programming, which is tons of fun. This is what we're used to, where we click on things. The first part of the semester is kind of boring because you just type in a black box, and it, you know, some people still do that, you know, around, but most of the time we're used to programs you can click on and use a mouse for. So we'll do that. And then we'll spend a little bit of time on Chapter 8 while working in GUIs in the final project to kind of fill out some more topics. And we'll talk about Chapter 13 a little bit, do more GUI stuff after Thanksgiving. The very second to last week is reserved for the final project to work on, and then actually the 16th week, because we have Thanksgiving week off, is we'll present the final project. Presentations are not optional. If you don't present the project, I can't grade it for you. The reason is I want to talk to you about it. Right? We don't often meet unless you want to. You know, there's no mandatory meetings here. So This is the only mandatory meeting with me when you present the project. I'm hoping to schedule some times for a couple people to present at, back to back to back. When we do this in person with classes, this is actually my favorite night. And usually it's people's favorite night because you get to see the stuff other people are doing. And the cool thing about programming is it's very creative. No one goes and does it the exact same way as someone else. Now, you might follow my design example here, and that's fine. It's okay if you make it look exactly like that, but everyone tackles it a little bit different and comes up and brings in some of their unique stuff, which is really cool when they actually have some fun with it. So we'll see if we can do that, schedule a couple times. So usually there's mornings, there's afternoons, there's evenings. I even do some weekends if we need to for presentations, and we've got all week to do it. So starting this week on 2/11, we'll do presentations. We've got all week to do them, 2/11 up through 2/18, which is great. So if you looked at the MyOCC page for when the class ran, generally that first Monday of 9/4 with Labor Day, we don't have classes if they're Monday classes. So the weird way that online classes work is they sort of have a day, because that's how we do our college scheduling. So we're going to have class that week. We're not going to take the entire week off for Labor Day. You can take Monday off and still do the class stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right, which is fine. So we have a little extra time. We have up until the 18th, which is nice. So 12/11, we'll start the presentations. And that entire week, we have time to do the presentations up through the 18th, which is great. If you were in in-person class, it would be due the 18th and that's it. You're done. Right? Or if it's a Tuesday class, it'd be due like the 12th and you're done. So, which is nice. We got a little time. So anyway, so we'll have 4 individual projects here every other week that we get into. Remember, projects make up the bulk of your grade. Right? So the individual projects here make up 30% of your grade. The final project is 40%. Now, the final projects you can do in pairs. I don't want to call it a group project. There's not really enough work for a group, and it starts to get difficult to spread the work around that way. But you can pair up with someone for the final project, which is great. So, try and meet someone and see if you like working with them. It's a lot of fun to work with people. It's actually really boring to do the work by yourself when you get into industry. Really lonely. It's great to work with another person to bounce ideas off, or a team to bounce ideas off, and you end up with a better product. So, well, that's an option for you for the final project. So we'll do that the last month of class, essentially. So we'll do the 4 individual projects every other week. We'll get through those topics. We'll have the midterm, and then we'll pivot to graphical user interface programming, have a little bit of special topics about correctness, robustness, and efficiency, some additional GUI stuff that week. The second to last week is reserved for work time. I'd like to meet with people. You touch base with me, check in with me, see. I try to avoid the buzzwords. The touch base is a bit of a buzzword, but check with me, see how things are going. Let me know if you need help with anything. Again, I'm happy to help with things. I'm not going to tell you to go away. I will get you pointed in the right direction and see what we need to work on to get these things across the finish line. I'm more than happy when everyone gets it done, and it's great. Like, I'm excited when everyone gets an A. I've yet to have a semester where everyone does get an A, but I'm excited when people get A's. I'm thrilled when you folks are successful, and I want you to be successful. I'm here to help. That's why they pay me, right, to answer your questions and help you be successful. So that's my goal. And that last week, we'll schedule a couple times for presentations. We've got actually a 12-week late start class that'll be they're doing their final project at the same time as us, which is cool. So we currently have 120 students just in my CIS 1500 sections who will be doing this final project and presenting. So I'm hopeful that we can get a couple people to present in a 1-hour block, and maybe you can actually spend an hour dedicated to this and watch a couple of other people present and go through their code and see their final project. It's a lot of fun, I promise. But we'll have sometimes we'll have mornings, we'll have afternoons, we'll have evenings, we'll have a couple weekend slots if we need to that week, which is it should work out before we get too close to the holiday season. So it should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. If it does need to change, I will let you know. My general rule of thumb is if it doesn't happen in Desire to Learn, it didn't happen. So Desire to Learn is our source of truth for the class. So all the official things will be posted there, will be due there, you'll submit work there. We'll use Git and GitHub to commit our code and to get our code out to the cloud so that I can see it and you can see it, and it's great. Posting code in Desire to Learn is not my favorite thing. I don't think Desire to Learn is meant for code, because it's not, right? GitHub is meant for code. So that's where we're going to put our code. We'll practice it, we'll have fun with it, and we'll go through. I wanted to talk a little bit more about grading here. I'm working through and part of a faculty learning community, or I don't know, we got a fancy name for it here, this idea of ungrading. Now, ungrading doesn't mean we don't grade stuff, right? Ungrading, if we look it up here, means that you're actually going to learn yourself, right? Grading for growth and assessing your own skills and improving your knowledge here, rather than just a score, right? Which is great. So ungrading is really cool. I'm a big fan of it. So when we do these projects here, I'm going to give you a rubric, and you're going to score yourself with the rubric. And you'll say, hey, okay, I accomplished this piece here. And you're going to show me this is where it does it, which is really cool. So we'll do that for the projects here, including the final project. Right? Quizzes are automatically graded. They're just, right or wrong is pretty quick. The quizzes are open book, open notes. Right? They're not open neighbor. They're open internet, but you get it out of the book, which is an online source. You get it out of the lectures. So the answers to the quizzes you can go find. So quizzes should be pretty good. The labs are essentially participation points, right? You do them for practice, and then you're going to talk with a classmate and reply to a classmate and talk about these things. So generally, if you get the lab, if you try on the lab, you'll get it done. And then the way that the labs are set up, they're discussion board posts. I know no one really likes discussion boards, and they're really old school technology. I'm not fond of them myself. But the goal with the labs here is like if we were sitting in person and working on it, it'd be like, hey, partner up with your neighbor here and work with them. So you do something and then you show your neighbor and you look at it together. It's the same idea with the lab. So the way that the discussion boards work here, I'll set them up, is that you don't see any posts until you do your first post. So your first post is your contribution, your attempt at the assignment, and then you get to see everyone else's, and you're going to do a reply to a classmate's here and talk about it. So you see, we'll go through the labs and see. So for the very first lab, we get into, where did it go here? I've got it posted actually here. I've got them all out here. I might go change them. This was from the summer. I copied them in, but for Lab 0, you're going to introduce yourself to the class by Monday 9/4 at 8 a.m. Include the times you're usually available to work in the class and help find a partner with a similar schedule. After you introduce yourself, find the partner to work with. So, find someone. Then write a Java program that prints the statements introducing them using the following questions below. So work with your partner, make sure that all the tools install. Right? Make sure that you're able to follow the video, get the tools installed, and they worked for you here. And then introduce that partner. So you reply to your partner's thread, introducing them. They'll reply to your thread, introducing you. Right? So you will tell this information to them, and they'll introduce you using a Java program. It's kind of silly, these little print line commands. They're not hard. And I'll go through and show you in the video on how I would introduce myself. So your name and major, a reason for taking the class, previous programming experience, if you have any hobbies, if you have any plans for the fall, anything else you'd like the class to know about them, and you just copy paste your code in. And that sort of format will follow where you'll post some code and then you'll follow up with the partner and see. So you'll see how it goes as we go. It's not too bad, I promise. So 9/4, 8 a.m., and then post by 9/11, 8 a.m. I gotta make sure these dates are right here. That's right. I gotta fix that one here. Let me go edit that. But that's sort of the flow of things for labs. So those are generally participation points. The projects you will score yourself using the rubric. I'll look at it and I'll generally agree with your self-assessment, your score of how it went here, and it goes pretty well. And then I get those plugged into D2L. So this ungrading idea is you score yourself. You let me know how you did, and it works out pretty well. The midterm, open book, open notes. Quizzes, open book, open notes. It goes pretty well. You're going to use your resources, and then you're going to add your original effort. All right, this has been kind of a long video. If you have any questions, let me know. I prefer people to post in Discord because I think Discord is a great place to, and actually a modern tool to have conversations about and answer questions. It's not the only place. You're welcome to use the question and answer forum here. Go ahead and post stuff in the question and answer forum. That's fine. That's okay too. I need to subscribe to this actually. That's what I need to do here. Let me go subscribe to this one so I get notifications right away. Subscribe. There we go. Instant notifications, yes. Okay, fantastic. All right, so if you got any questions, let me know. I'm looking forward to this semester. Let me know how things go for you. Reach out if you have questions and concerns. I'm here to help, but if you're struggling, I don't know it unless you tell me. So I don't get to see the puzzled look on your faces like we were meeting in person that I'm used to seeing if we meet in person, where I can tell as we're talking someone's not getting it. If you're not getting it, you got to tell me so I can help you with it, right? You got to ask questions so I can help. So let me know how it goes, and I'm looking forward to it. And you take care. I'll see you around.